not equal or ibig sabihin may significant difference. So again, kapag yung result ay naging in favor of HA wherein at least two means are not equal, ang next step dyan is to perform post hoc test para makita kung aling combinations of treatments ang may significant difference at wala. So again, it is the most basic experimental design since isang factor lang ang tinitingnan natin dito. Kaso nga lang, dahil isang factor lang yung kinukonsider natin sa experiment, ang isang major requirement niya is to ensure na lahat ng experimental units or materials ay sufficiently homogeneous. So for the randomization ng CRD, dapat random yung assignment ng experimental unit sa bawat treatment. Tapos when it comes to the number of replications, dapat at least 2 experimental units yung isa i-assign sa bawat treatment. Tapos for the linear model of the CRD, so again it is equivalent to y sub ij is equals to mu plus tau I plus the error term, wherein sa ating model, yung y sub I should be continuous variable. Mu is for the mean effect, and then tau sub I is for the treatment effect. That is, or that must be a factor. And then Fe for the error term. So ito yung ating one-way ANOVA table. So we have sources of variation like treatment, error, and total. So ito yung mga degrees of freedom, sum of squares, mean square, F value, and then F tab. So kapag magko-compare tayo ng results or magme-make ng decision based on the ANOVA table, so we reject HO if F computed is greater than F tab. So again, nag-run tayo ng ANOVA in R. So ang function na gagamitin na ginamit natin is AOV function. Tapos inside the parenthesis is our response variable, and then the factor, and then the dataset. So we have example number 1. And then we explore its non-parametric counterpart, which is the Kruskal-Wallis test. Again, magpe-perform lang tayo ng Kruskal-Wallis kapag na-violate yung assumption ng normality. Pero kapag ang na-violate na assumption lang is yung homogeneity of variance, ang kailangan lang natin gawin is i-adjust yung analysis into Welch test. Pero pag both assumptions, normality and homogeneity of variance, so magpo-proceed tayo sa non-parametric counterpart niya. And then for multiple comparisons of means or post hoc tests, again, ito ay pine-perform lang kapag inireject natin yung HO. So we have different tests. So we have the LSD or least significant test, the Tukey's or honestly significant difference, Bonferroni, Schiffer, and Danitz test. So itong yung apat, yung LSD, Tukey's, Bonferroni's, and Schiffer, ginagamit yan kapag gusto nyo i-compare yung lahat ng combinations of treatments. Pero kapag ang gusto nyo lang i-compare is si control versus all the treatments, ang gagamitin natin ay si Danitz test. So we perform Tukey's HSD using Tukey HSD function, and then inside the parenthesis yung name ng ating ANOVA. Yan. So, basically yan lang naman yung discussion last meeting. So now in this topic, we are dealing with experiments that utilize the simplest use of blocking so that every treatment is applied to exactly one randomly selected experimental unit within a block. So in here, instead na sa CRD kasi ang design natin is meron tayong treatment 1. Let's say we have 3 treatments. So we have treatment 1, treatment 2, and then treatment 3. Tas meron tayong mga data set dyan. So isang factor lang yung kino-consider natin. Paano kapag ang experimental unit natin ay hindi homogeneous? Kapag meron pang other factors na magkakos ng variation among our experimental units. So in that case, hinahati natin yung experimental units inside each treatments to different groups. And tinatawag natin yun na blocking. For example, yan, hatiin natin into 3 blocks. So we have B1, B2, and B3. Para yung treatment 1, dahil hindi mahirap i-sustain yung homogeneity na assumption, ginugroup natin siya into 3 para mas maging homogeneous inside each blocks yung experimental unit natin. So again, that is called blocking, which refers to the grouping of a number of experimental units are relatively homogeneous. So proper blocking procedures large differences among blocks, leaving experimental units within a blocks as homogeneous as possible. So ito na ay magiging RCBD design. Pero ang effect lang na tinitingnan natin sa RCBD ay yung effect ng treatment tapos ng block. So dalawa na siya. So, yun yung difference niya kay CRD. Kasi kay CRD, ang tinitingnan lang natin is yung effect nitong itong treatment lang. So, now, i-consider na rin natin yung effect nitong blockings. Kung significant ba siya sa ating layout or experiment o hindi. So, ito yung ating linear model for RCBD. So, kung mapapansin nyo, almost the same lang siya kay CRD, pero syempre, i-consider na rin natin yung effect ni blocks. So, ang notation na gagamitan natin ay beta for the block effect. So, for the hypothesis, so meron na tayong dalawang hypothesis since dalawa na yung tinitingnan natin. So, meron tayong hypothesis for the treatment effect. So, for the treatment effect and for blocks effect. So, for the treatment effect, ang HO natin is tau sub I is equals to 0. So, ibig sabihin, walang significant difference among the treatments. Versus HA, at least 1 tau sub I is not equal to 0. For block effects, beta sub I is equal to 0. Ibig sabihin, walang significant difference yung effect ng different blocks. Versus HA, at least 1 beta I is not equal to 0. So, ito yung ANOVA table natin for RCBD. Nadagdagan lang din ng 4 blocks. So, for the source of variation, meron na tayong treatment, blocks, error, and total. And then for the sum of squares, madadagdagan lang din ng sum of squares per blocks. Ganon din sa mean square per block. And then for F computed, meron na tayong dalawa. Meron tayong F computed for treatment, tapos F computed for block. Tapos, kapag yung decision rule natin is dalawa na rin. Meron tayong decision rule for treatment, which is reject HO kapag yung F computed ni treatment is greater than sa F tab value ni treatment. Itong F tab value, kukunin natin yan sa F table. So, for the blocks, so i-reject natin yung HO na yung hypothesis natin for block kapag yung F computed value natin for block is greater than F tab natin for block. But since hindi naman na tayo magko-compute manually dito at gagamit tayo ng R, so ang decision rule pa rin natin ay using the p-value method wherein reject HO if yung p-value is less than or equal to alpha. Okay, so for example number 1, Ang scenario natin ay i-compare yung tatlong fertilizers. So we have F1, F2, and F3 on plant height in centimeter. And then ang kinonsider na blockings dito ay yung 3 garden plots. So we have plot 1, 2, and 3 para i-control yung soil differences. So each plot receives all fertilizers once. So ito na yung results. Ito yung ating treatment. So fertilizers. And then blocks natin is yung plot. So ito yung ating data set. So now, i-run ko lang siya sa R. Open ko lang yung R ko. Okay, so going back to R. So open lang ako ng new R script for RCBD. So example 1. So pangalanan natin yung data na height. And then, so ang data natin ay 15, 18, 22, 16, 17, 19, 16, 19, and 21. So yan yung ating continuous variable. Now for fertilizer, so i-assign natin yung fertilizer sa bawat continuous variable. So for 15, yan ay part ng fertilizer 1. And then yung 18 ay fertilizer 2. And then yung 22 ay fertilizer 3. And then yung 16, hatiin ko sa tatlo para hindi tayo malito. Kasi yung pagkaka-encode ko ng data ay by row. So, ibig sabihin, ito ay si plot 1. Tapos, ito naman ay si plot 2. Tapos, ito si plot 3. Tapos, pag ganito yung, di ba pa row siya? So, plot 1, plot 2, plot 3. Tapos, yung pag ano naman is fertilizer. Kaya ito si fertilizer 1, fertilizer 2, fertilizer 3. So, ika-copy-paste ko na lang to. Yan. And then, we have another variable which is for plot. So, P na lang yung gamitin natin for plot. So, ito ay for P1 and then P2 and then P3. So, ito ay si P1. So, tatlong P1. So, P1. Yan. And then, tatlong P2. and then tatlong P3 or plot 3. Then, run natin lahat. Argument empty. Nasobrahan ako ng comma. Kasi pag sumobra yung comma na ganun, ibig sabihin hindi pa ako tapos mag-encode ng data. So, very sensitive si R. Ayan. Tapos, ang next na gagawin natin is gagawa tayo ng data frame. Wrong spelling example. So, gagawa tayo ng data frame. Gawa tayo ng, pangalan na lang ng data frame ko ay fertilizers. So, fertilizers.df. Tapos, inside the C function, yung pangalan ng lahat ng mga variables na niran natin kanina. So, height, fertilizer and plot. And then, run. Then, para ma-check nyo, ito lang yung i-highlight natin to check kung ba't hindi nag-run lahat. Wait lang. Wait, mali yung function ko. So, dapat ay data.frame. Yan. Kasi magke-create ako ng isang data frame para naka-view lang sa isang table or data frame lahat ng ating variables na yan. Then, highlight nyo to, run. So, ayan. So, ibig sabihin si 15, yung data natin na 15 for height ay nasa fertilizer 1 at plot 1. Si 18 ay nasa fertilizer 2, plot 1. 22, fertilizer 3, plot 1. 16, fertilizer 1, plot 2, and so on. So, all in all, we have 9 data points. Yan. So, again, we start analyzing data using descriptive statistics. So, i-describe natin yung mean ng height ng plants among different fertilizers. So, kagaya ng function na ginamit natin before. So, ito ay mean and SD by fertilizer. Fertilizer. So, ang gagamitan pa rin nating function ay yung t-apply. Tapos, so yung pangalan ng data frame natin. And then, yung continuous variable, height, and then by fertilizer. And then, kung anong measure yung gagamitan natin. So, unahin natin si mean. So, let's see. Okay. So, ibig sabihin, ang mean plant height ni fertilizer 1 is 15.67, kay fertilizer 2 is 18, kay fertilizer 3 is 20.67. So, as we have noticed, medyo obvious naman na merong differences, di ba? Kasi 15, 18, and 20. Pero ang gusto nating gawin dito is to check if enough na ba yung sample or yung evidence to say na meron talagang significant difference among our fertilizers. So aside from that, ang laging kapartner ni mean sa pagde-describe ng data is yung standard deviation. So run lang din. So ang standard deviation ni fertilizer 1 is 0.58, fertilizer 2, 1, fertilizer 3 is 1.53. So even in their standard deviation, malaki yung medyo obvious ang discrepancy. But again, what we want is to see if this results or this evidence is enough to say na meron significant difference. Now, i-check din natin yung descriptive statistics by blocks naman natin or by plot. So, T-apply pa rin. So, same pa rin yung fertilizers DF na data. And then, yung continuous variable. And now, by plot naman tayo. So, mean, tapos standard deviation. So, for plot 1, ang mean niya is 18.33 with a standard deviation of 3.51. For plot 2, 17.33 with standard deviation 1.53. Plot 3, 18.67 with standard deviation 2.51. So, when it comes to blockings, medyo maliit lang yung kanilang discrepancy. But i-check pa rin natin kung significant ba yung discrepancy na yan o hindi. So now, dahil nakita na natin ang kanilang descriptive statistics, let's perform one-way ANOVA. So, ipakita ko lang yung sa dataset natin kanina. So, ito na yung ating null and alternative hypothesis for example number 1. So, ito yung ating null and alternative hypothesis for treatment. So, since we have 3 treatments, so ang HO natin is tau sub 1 is equals to tau sub 2 equals to tau sub 3. And then HA, at least 2 means are not equal. For blocks, since meron din tayong 3 blocks, so ang HO natin doon is beta 1 is equals to beta 2 equals to beta 3, or there is no significant difference doon sa effect ng blocks or plots. And then at least 2 means are not equal din. Okay, so since gagamit naman tayo ng R, ito na lang yung mag-base na lang tayo sa p-value. So reject HO if p-value is less than or equal to alpha. So, going back to R. So, apply na natin yung AO function. So, AOV function lang din. Pangalanan ko na lang na fertilizer ANOVA. Ito. So, AOV pa rin na function. So, yung continuous variable ulit natin. Ang continuous variable natin ay si height. And then, ititilde nyo lang siya doon sa ating categorical variable or factor. So, una natin yung treatment, which is the fertilizer. Tapos, i-add nyo lang yung another factor, which is yung blocks natin or yung plot. And then, comma, and then yung data. So, ang ipapasok natin sa data is yung ating mali-mali yung spelling. Fertilizer. Run. And then again, para ma-view nyo yung function. Kasi kapag ito lang yung nirun nyo, hindi yan yung ANOVA. Hindi yung results ng ANOVA yung lalabas. Kaya dapat ang i-run nyo ay summary and then yung pangalan ng ating kinreate na ANOVA. And then, run. So, ito na yung results. So, ito yung ating results for the fertilizer. And then, ito naman yung para sa plots. So, kung mapapansin nyo, ang p-value natin for fertilizer ay 0.0112. Which is less than our alpha na 0.05. So, ibig sabihin, reject natin yung HO kasi mas mababa siya sa 0.05. So, ibig sabihin yan, at least 2 means on our treatment are not equal. Pero pag titingnan nyo dun sa plot, tingnan nyo, ang p-value ng plot ay 0.3673, which is not less than our alpha na 0.05, kaya failed to reject yung HO. So, ibig sabihin, on our plots or blocks, walang significant difference. So, kahit naman di ba kanina doon sa descriptive statistics na tiningnan natin kanina, doon sa mean ng mean and standard deviation ng fertilizer, medyo malalaki ang discrepancy. Pero doon sa plots, hindi. So, nagko-coincide sila sa results nitong hypothesis testing natin or analysis of variance results. So, ang next na tingnan natin is yung assumption. So, same as true with RCVD or CRD, ang mga important assumptions din nito ay yung normality of the residuals and the homogeneity of variance. So again, assumption 1 is the normality. So for normality, alam niyo naman na yung mga plots na ginagamit natin. So direct na ako sa test. So siya, pero that test, again, since modeling itong analysis of variance, ang sinasubject natin for assumptions ay ang ating residuals. So i-extract natin yung residuals nitong kinreate nating ANOVA table. Tapos, yun yung iti-test natin for normality. So, based on the results of the Shapiro-Wilk test, ang p-value niya ay 0.1023. Eh, di ba ang HO natin for Shapiro-Wilk ay normal versus HA na not normal. Since ang p-value natin na 0.10 is not less than our alpha na 0.05, so ibig sabihin, failed to reject HO, so our residuals is normal. So hindi natin na-violate yung assumptions for normality. Next is for homogeneity of variance. So for homogeneity of variance, so ang gagamitin ulit natin ay si Levin's test. So again, sa Levin's test, ikakopy lang natin itong nasa loob ng AOV function. So yung response, tilde yung predictor variables or factors, and then yung data. Kaso nga lang, kapag nirekta nyo na ganyan, lalo kapag kaka-open nyo yung R, kailangan yung i-load again yung mga packages na kailangan to run the specific analysis. Kasi para mag-run itong Levin test, kailangan natin ng library na car. Yan. So, i-load muna natin siya. Pag successful na yung paglo-load, saka natin i-run itong function na Levin test. Wait. So, ang ililivin test lang natin ay in terms of the fertilizer. Hindi niya kaya yung sabayan. So, separate na test. Pero since ang main effect lang naman na gusto nating tingnan is sa treatment, so kahit si treatment na lang yung isubject natin for homogeneity of variance. So, warning lang yun lumabas. Ano lang yan? Parang warningan niya lang kayo na magko-coerce siya into something, pero ang may result pa rin siya na pinroduce. So, ang p-value ng ating Levin test ay 0.5787, which is greater than our alpha na 0.05. So, ibig sabihin, failed to reject yung HO. So, ibig sabihin, variances are not equal. So, wala tayong na-violate na assumption. So, balik tayo dito sa PowerPoint. So, ito yung mga test kanina. So, again, ito yung sa results ng ating ANOVA. So, ito yung p-value natin for treatment. And then, ito yung p-value natin for block. So, again, for normality, since ang p-value natin is not less than alpha, failed to reject HO. So, ang residuals natin ay normally distributed. Next, for the homogeneity of variance, ang p-value natin is 0.57. So, not less than alpha siya. So, failed to reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, variances are equal across fertilizers. So, if curious kayo sa variances among plots, so papalitan nyo lang naman ito ng plot. Okay, so for our decision, since yung p-value natin na 0.0112 is less than sa alpha natin na 0.05. So, ibig sabihin, ang decision natin is to reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, we can conclude at 5% level of significance that at least two means across fertilizers are not equal. So, dahil napatunayan natin na not equal across fertilizers yung result. So, pwede tayo mag-perform ng post-hoc test. For blocks, since yung p-value natin na 0.3673 is not less than alpha na 0.05, so ang decision naman natin dito is failed to reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, we can conclude na walang significant difference across plots. So, ibig sabihin lang nito, hindi significant na mag-blockings ka doon sa experiment. So, no need na no perform post-hoc when it comes to blockings kasi significant lang yung effect niya. Okay, so nag-perform ako ng post-hoc test for fertilizers since ang result ay significant. So, ito yung result ng Tukey's. So, ang p-value ng pag kinompare mo si fertilizer 1 versus fertilizer 2, ang result ay 0.1102. So, not less than alpha. So, ibig sabihin, walang significant difference si fertilizer 2 at saka si fertilizer 1. And then, kapag i-compare mo si fertilizer 3 at saka si fertilizer 1, ang p-value nila is 0.009 which is less than sa alpha natin na 0.05. So, ibig sabihin, may significant difference sa effect, yung effect nitong si fertilizer 3 at saka si fertilizer 1. But on the last combination, si fertilizer 3 at saka si fertilizer 2, ang p-value nila is 0.07. So, ibig sabihin, wala ring significant difference. So, may significant difference lang sa effect ni fertilizer 3 at fertilizer 1. Again, dun sa plots, no need na to perform since failed to reject naman yung HO. So, basically, walang significant difference yung kanilang effect. Okay, so paano kapag may na-violate na assumption? So, again, kapag ang na-violate na assumption ay normality, at saka homogeneity of variance, magpe-perform tayo ng non-parametric test. Pero kapag ang na-violate na assumption ay normality lang at hindi na-violate ang homogeneity of variance, so non-parametric test ulit tayo. Pero kapag ang na-violate lang ay homogeneity of variance at hindi na-violate ang assumption ng normality, so, aayusin lang natin yung pagpe-perform ng AOV function using Welch test. No need to perform non-parametric test. Again, ang non-parametric counterpart naman ni RCBD is itong si Friedman test. So, it is used to compare 3 or more treatments when the same experimental units are used under each treatment. So, pwede siyang match or unmatch. Kaya non-parametric counterpart din to ni repeated measures ANOVA. So, ang hypothesis natin is all treatments are equivalent. At least one treatment is different. So, ito yung function na gagamitin natin sa pag-perform ng Friedman test. So, Friedman.test, then parentheses. So, inside the parentheses, so treat lang siya doon sa block and then data equals to data set. So, try ko na lang dito sa my same example even though na hindi na violate yung assumption for illustration lang siya. So, let's try Friedman test. So, Friedman. That test. So, again, yung y natin, which is height. And then, tilde, fertilizer. Tapos, condition nyo lang yung blocks. Ang blocks natin, again, is yung plot. Tapos, yung data. Again, ang pangalan ng dataset natin is fertilizers.df. And then, let's try. So, kaso nga lang, dito kay Friedman test, hindi niya na-account yung effect ng blocks. Naka-focus lang to doon sa treatments kasi naka-condition na kay treatments yung results ng blocks. Hindi separate. Kaya ang results lang nito is isa lang yung p-value. So, ang p-value niya is 0.04979 which is not less than which is less than, di ba? Less than pa rin yan kasi 0.05 ang ating alpha. So, ibig sabihin, reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, at least one treatment is different. Or at least two means are not equal when it comes to the effect of the fertilizer conditioned to the different plots. So, kung makapapansin nyo, wala namang nagbago. Hindi naman nabago yung results even though na gumamit ka ng non-parametric test. Kasi sa results ng fertilizer natin kanina, yung results ng fertilizer natin is significant din naman. Significant din siya sa result ni Friedman test. So, ibig sabihin kahit gumamit ka ng non-parametric test, same pa rin yung results. Mas powerful nga lang yung, mas mataas ang power of test ng parametric test. Pero again, take note na hindi to palaging nagko-coincide silang dalawa ng result. May chance or instances pa rin na hindi sila same ng nagiging final decision. So, ayan ang ating RCBD design. So, CRD lang siya na nilagyan ng blocks. Next design is the factorial experiments. So, ang factorial experiment naman is a powerful experimental design method used when investigating the effects of two or more factors simultaneously on a response variable. So, here in factorial design, hindi na lang basta effect ng factors or ng blocks ang tinitingnan natin, kundi pati yung kanilang treatment combination or interaction. For example, meron tayong two factors A and B. Hindi na lang yung main effect ni A tapos main effect ni B yung titingnan, kundi yung interaction ng dalawang factors ni A and B. For example, we have factor A na Dalawa yung categories, low and high. And then factor B, low and high din. So, iti-test din natin yung kanilang combinations, yung interaction ng combinations. So, low for factor A, low for factor B, low for factor A, high for factor B, and etc. Lahat ng possible combinations of interaction effect ay i-observe din or iti-test din natin. So, ano yung mga advantages ng paggamit ng factorial experiments? So, it allows simultaneously study of multiple factors, reducing the number of experiments needed to compare or to study. And then it provides insights into how factors interact, which may reveal more complex relationship than single factor studies. And results from factor experiments are often more robust since they are considered multiple influencing factor. So meron tayo maraming klase ng factorial experiment depende sa dami ng factor na i-consider mo sa study. Pero ang finocus ko na lang dito sa presentation na to is yung factorial experiment for CRD or in a CRD and factorial experiment in a RCBD. So for factorial experiment and CRD, yung ito ay experimental setup where two or more factors are studied simultaneously and the experimental units are randomly assigned to each treatment combination. So in this type of design, every factor level combination is randomly allocated to the experimental units without any restrictions. Basta dapat yung variability between units is minimized by proper randomization. So ano yung different features ng ating factorial experiment in CRD? Una, dapat completely randomize ang allocation ng experimental unit sa bawat treatment. So this randomness eliminates the influence of external factors that could introduce bias. And then yung factorial arrangement wherein the experiment involves multiple factors, each of different levels. So iti-test natin lahat ng possible combinations of these levels. And then for the treatment combination, each combination of factor is considered a distinct treatment. So for example, if meron tayong dalawang factor na A and B with two levels, so meron tayong 4 na treatment combinations na itetest. So imagine kapag mas marami yung levels at factors na itetest, mas hahaba ang ating factorial experiment or yung mga itetest na factors for factorial experiment. Next is the homogeneity of experimental unit. So the assumption is that all experimental units are homogeneous or there is no underlying differences among them other than the treatments being applied. So basically, para lang din naman siyang CRD, dapat lahat ng experimental units ay homogeneous across all treatments. So, ang advantage nito ay, again, easy to implement kasi CRD pa rin yung base design niya. Multiple factors can be studied simultaneously because aside from the CRD, pinasukan natin siya ng factorial experiment. And fewer experimental units may be needed compared to conducting several separate experiments for each factor. On this advantage, again, CRD assumes that all experimental units are homogeneous. And if there are many factors and levels, the number of treatment combinations can become large, requiring many experimental units. So for the hypothesis, kapag two factors na CRD yung design, so meron tayong tatlong hypothesis na itetest. So una, hypothesis for the interaction. So that is alpha, beta. Kasi yung alpha ay i-assign natin for first factor and then beta for the second factor. So, ang una natin titingnan sa factorial experiment is yung kung significant ba ang interaction. Kasi ang ibig sabihin kapag significant yung interaction, no need to test its individual differences kasi kailangan natin i-consider yung combination of their interaction effects. And then kapag ang next is, pero kung gusto mo pa rin, even though na significant na yung interaction at gusto mo pa rin i-evaluate further yung kanilang main effects, pwede pa rin naman. So pag meron tayong two factors, so meron tayong main effect for A and main effect for ito ay B. So, tatlo siya, interaction, main effect ni factor A, tapos main effect ni factor B. So, ang decision rule natin kapag using F computed, ganun pa rin, reject HO if F computed is greater than our F tab. But since, again, we will use R, kaya i-base na lang ulit natin using phi-value method. So, ito yung ating ANOVA table for CRD. So, pinahaba lang ulit. Ito yung ating nadagdagan lang, mas dumami lang ang ating sources of variation. So, we have for main effect A, main effect B, and then for interaction. So, tatlo rin yung ating F computed value at tatlo yung F tab kasi tatlo yung ating iti-test. So, ito yung mga notations for factorial experiment. So, again, A for factor A, and then B for factor B. And then Yijk is the response on the kth replications kasi, di ba, main effect ni A, main effect ni B, tapos yung interaction, kaya IJK. So, ganito dapat yung presentation ng data. So, ito yung, di ba, yung factor A. So, meron kang 1, 2, and so on. So, inside factor A, you have another factor which is B1, B2, up to kung ilan yung levels ni factor B. Tapos, ito yung replications. So, ito yung replications ni E1B1, replications ni A1B2, and then replications ni A1BB, and so on. So, ito yung ating ANOVA table for factorial experiment and CRD. So, mag-a-add lang din tayo ng another terms in the model for the interaction effect. So, alpha, beta, sub, ij. Okay, so for example, number 1, suppose we want to study the effect of fertilizer considered as factor A, and then yung irrigation level, which is our factor B, sa rice yield. So again, for our factor A, so we have 3 levels, so A, B, and C. And then for factor B, irrigation, so we have 2 levels, B1 and B2. Ang ibig sabihin ni B1 ay low, si B2 ay high. And then we have 3 replications for factor A and B interaction. So, punta tayo sa R. Discuss ko na lang siguro kung paano ko siya in-encode sa R. So, sa R, ganito yung itsura ng ating dataset. So, ito yung 4.2. Ito yung, paano ba to? Ito si B1, A1. So, ito yon isang row siya, comma, sineparate ko lang siya ng one space para yung next data ko is para sa data ni A1, B2. Tapos ito naman ay data set ni A2, B1, Tapos, ito naman yung data ni B2. Tapos, ito naman yung dataset ni A3, B2. Tapos, ito naman ay dataset ni A3, B2. So, ganun siya. Kasi pag nag-assign tayo, like for example, pag nag-assign tayo ng fertilizer, di ba, itong dataset na to ay ito. So, kapag when it comes to fertilizer, so siya ay A1, A2, and A3. Bakit A1? Wait. Dapat ito ay A1 lang lahat. Kasi ito siya eh. Tapos ito ay dapat A1 lang din. Tapos ito, ayusin ko. So punta na ako sa R. Ano na tayo? Save ko lang to ng RCDD. So, ito ay factorial experiment. In a CRD. Okay, so yun yung ating yield. Next, add tayo ng, i-categorize natin siya into fertilizer. Maduduplicate ko na yung una nating niran kanina ha. So 4.2. So A1 siya. So A1, tatlong A1. Tapos, itong data na to ay A1 pa din. Tatlo ulit. Oops, comma. Don't forget yung comma. Tapos, yung second na row na data is nasa A2 yan. So, palitan ko na lang to ng 2. Comma. And then, yung third na row, itong dataset na to is nasa A3. So, palitan ko na lang to ng 3 yung mga to. Yan. Next is for our factor 2, which is yung irrigation. So, itong dataset na to is part ni irrigation 1. So, pangalanan ko yan na B1. So, tatlo yan. So, B1, B1. Tapos, ito, part 2 ni B2. Or irrigation 2. Data yan ni irrigation 2. So, copy-paste ko na lang to kasi pare-parehas na yan. Na A1, na B1, B2. Ayan. So, tapos, magke-create ako ng, i-run ko lang to muna. Tapos magke-create ako ng one data frame. So, papangalanan ko na lang yun ng yield dot df. So, data dot frame. Ipasok lahat ng mga variables. Fertilizer. And then irrigation. And then run. So let's see the data frame. Ayan. So dapat ganito yung maging itsura niya. So si 4.2 ay na kay A1, B1. Si 4.0 ay na kay A1, B1 din. 4.1 na kay A1, B1. 4.8, A1, B2. So, tama naman. So, i-copy-paste ko lang to. Mali yun nasa PowerPoint ko. Ayan. Basically, ganito lang yung nangyari. So, ito ay itong dataset na to. So, ibig sabihin, siya ay nasa fertilizer 1. Tapos, nasa factor B1. Tapos, yung dataset na to ay nasa fertilizer 1 pa rin, pero nasa factor B2 na. Okay, so tapos, itong dataset na to is nasa, ito yan. So, 5.0, 5.2, 5.1. So, nasa factor ni A2, tapos dataset, factor B1. Tapos, ito naman ay nasa factor A3, tapos B1. So, ganun siya. So, tapos, balik na tayo sa R para sa descriptive statistics. So, sa descriptive statistics, ang gagamitin, iibahin ko yung function ng ginagamit ko kanina ay t-apply. So, gagamit ako ngayon ng aggregate na function. So, aggregate, so yield, and then itilde ko lang siya ng data natin for fertilizer plus the irrigation. And then data equals yung data frame. So, yield.tf. So, wala pa akong kino-compute, nilagay na i-compute. So, compute natin yung mean. So, ibig sabihin, si fertilizer A1, tapos irrigation B1, ang mean yield ay 4.10. Si fertilizer A2, tapos irrigation B1, ang yield ay 5.10. Tapos si fertilizer A3, irrigation B1, ang yield ay 6.10. So, ganun siya. So, pwede nyo rin itong gamitin doon sa codes natin kanina. So, aside from t-apply, pwede rin tayong mag-compute ng growth summary statistics using the aggregate function. Now, let's perform ANOVA model. So, for ANOVA model, pangalanan ko na lang siya na yield.ANOVA. So, same function pa rin yung gagamitin. So, AOB function. So, inside the AOB function, so again, yung continuous variable natin, which is the yield, tilde yung fertilizer, and then, so ngayon, hindi na kagaya ng RCBD na pinlas ko yung other factor. Ngayon, ang gagamitin ko ay yung asterisk. Parang multiply. Plus asterisk yung another factor which is yung irrigation. And then, comma, data. Again, sa data, ang ilalagay natin is yung data frame. So again, yung response variable natin, which is yung yield, itilde nyo doon sa first factor, asterisk yung second factor. And then, run. So again, to view the results, gamit tayo ng summary function. And then inside the summary function, yung ating ANOVA. So ito yung ating results. Ito yung ANOVA ng ating factorial experiment in ACRD. So ganito yung itsura niya. So meron tayong p-value for fertilizer, tapos p-value for irrigation, and then ito yung p-value natin for fertilizer times irrigation. So, basically, ang titingnan natin dyan, balik ako sa PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so ang una nating titingnan is yung sa may results ng interaction. So again, ito yung ating null and alternative hypothesis for interaction. So HO is equals to alpha times beta sub ij is equals to 0. So ibig sabihin, walang significant difference sa different combinations of interaction effect. Versus HA, at least 2 means are not equal. And then, ang p-value niya is 0.911. So, ito ay greater than sa alpha natin na 0.05. So, ibig sabihin, ang decision natin ay failed to reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, we can conclude na there is no significant interaction between fertilizer and irrigation sa rice yield. So, since hindi significant ang result ng interaction, so we can evaluate its main effects. But again, kung significant man yung result ng interaction at gusto mo pa rin tingnan yung mga main effects, pwede pa rin naman, pero ang main interest natin dito is yung interaction. But again, based on since yung result dito sa ating example ay not significant, so tingnan natin ang kanilang mga main effects. So, yung results ng main effect ni A, so ang ating HO is alpha sub I is equals to 0. Ibig sabihin walang significant difference. Versus HA at least 1 alpha sub I is not equals to 0. Tapos ang p-value niya is 0.859. So dito yan manggagaling. So ang decision natin is failed to reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, we can conclude na there is no significant difference sa rice yield for different fertilizers. So, for main effect ni B, so ang HO natin is beta sub I is equals to 0 versus HA at least 1 beta sub I is not equals to 0. Tapos, ang p-value niya is 0.264. So, ang decision rin natin is failed to reject HO since yung 0.264 is not less than our alpha na 0.05. Kaya ang conclusion din natin ay walang significant difference sa effect walang significant difference in different irrigations on the average rice yield. So, for assumptions, nag-check lang ako ng normality. So, siya, pero that test, residuals pa rin ng ating ANOVA. So, ang p-value niya is 0.1284, which is not less than sa alpha natin na 0.05, kaya failed to reject HO. And our conclusion is normal naman ang distributions ng ating residuals. Next is the homogeneity of variance. So, ganito yung i-input natin sa loob ng Leibniz test function. Yun nasa loob lang din ng ating AOV function. So, ang p-value niya is 0.9215. So, ang p-value natin is not less than alpha again na 0.05, kaya failed to reject HO. So, we can conclude then na variances are equal. So, ibig sabihin, wala tayong na-violate na assumption. So, we can proceed for this test. Okay, so wait lang. Okay, so next is si factorial experiment in a randomized complete block design. Naman tayo. Okay, so si factorial experiment in a randomized complete block design naman is a design where multiple factors are tested simultaneously, but yung experimental units are grouped into blocks kagaya nung sa RCBD design natin. So this design reduces the error due to the variability within blocks, making it more efficient for experiments where blocking is necessary. So anong itsura ng ating dataset for RCBD design? So mag-a-add lang tayo ng blocking, which is the experimental units are grouped into blocks based on a known source of variability. And each block contains all treatment combinations. So mag-a-add lang tayo again ng another factor doon sa ating experiment. And then factorial arrangement, wherein two or more factors are tested and every possible combination of factor levels is applied in each block. And then yung randomization within block. So within each block, dapat yung treatment combinations are randomly assigned to the experimental units. And then reduce error. So by accounting for block-to-block variability, yung RCBD increases the precision of the treatment comparison. So again, ito yung ating ANOVA table for factorial RCBD. So sa source of variation, madadagdagan lang tayo ng madadagdagan lang tayo ng blocks or ref na row or another na factor na itetest. So, ibig sabihin ilan na yung itetest natin. So, A, B, AB, and then block. So, meron tayong 4 na hypothesis na itetest or i-evaluate. So, basically, ganun kasi sa experimental design. Kapag nagdagdag ka ng factor, mas humihirap ang experiment. So, meron tayong hypothesis for the interaction. So, alpha, beta din ang gamitin nating notation. Then, for the main effect is alpha. Main effect ng, again, beta. Main effect ni B is beta. And then RJ for the block effect. Blocks effect. So, same decision rule. Reject HO if yung F computed is greater than F tabular or F tab. But since, again, we will be using R, so same decision rule using p-value. Reject HO if p-value is less than alpha. And then again, mag-a-add lang tayo ng another component dito sa ating ANOVA model for BK for block effect. So, doon sa may example natin previously, suppose na meron tayong fertilizer na 2 levels, A and B. Tapos, irrigation na 2 levels din, low and high, on yield. Tapos, gagamit naman tayo ng tatlong blocks or fields. So, again, meron tayong factor A, which is yung fertilizer. Factor B, which is yung irrigation. And then, meron siyang 2 levels, low and high. And then for blocks, meron tayong tatlong levels, F1, F2, and F3. So ito yung data set. Medyo mahirap, parang nakakalito siya tingnan. Pero again is, ito yung A1, B1. So ibig sabihin ito ay factor A level 1, factor B level 1. So, combinations to. So, ibig sabihin, 4 ang combinations natin. And then, factor 1, level 2, factor 1, level 1, factor 2, level 2. Factor 1, level 2, factor 2, level 1. And then, factor 1, level 2, and factor 2, level 2. Ito yung mga dataset nila. Tas ito yung blockings. Diba? Tatlong level. F1, 2, and 3. So, ganito ko naman siya in-encode kay R. So, let's see kung tama. Si 3I, nasa fertilizer 1, irrigation 1, and then fields 1. So, tama. Si 3.5, ito si 3.5. Si 3.5 ay nakay factor 1, irrigation 2, and then factor 1 or block fields 1. Field 1. Tama naman. Last is, ito, try natin si 3.2. Si 3.2, ito siya. So, si 3.2 ay nakay E2, tapos B1, and F3. So, I think tama naman yung pagkaka-encode natin sa R. Copy ko na lang to ulit. So, itong example natin na to ay factorial experiment in a RCBD. So, run lang lahat. So, basta ganun lang. Una yung i-encode si continuous, tapos si factor A, then si factor B, tapos si blocks. Tapos magke-create ng data frame using data.frame function, tas inside the parentheses lahat ng mga variables na una nating in-encode. So, ito ang itsura ni data frame 2. Dito natin ma-check isa-isa kung tama siya. So, si 3.0 ay nakay fertilizer 1, irrigation 1, at field 1. Si 3.5 ay nakay fertilizer 1, irrigation 2, at saka kay field 1. So, tama naman. Okay, next. Nagagawin, hindi na ako magde-descriptive, pero descriptive talaga dapat. Na ako agad, direkta na ako kay ANOVA model. So, yield that ANOVA dot 2 na lang ako. yung ating continuous variable, tilde fertilizer, tapos asterisk yung next na factor which is yung irrigation. Tapos, pag ilalagay nyo si block, parang kagaya nung sa RCBD, using plus. And then yung ating block which is yung fields. And then comma, data. Data ang ilalagay natin is yung data frame. Yan. And then, okay na. Run. Run. And then again, to view yung result, gagamit tayo ng summary function. Then inside summary, ipapasok natin yung ating kinreate na ANOVA. Then, run. So, ganyan ang kanyang result. So, para lang din naman kagaya nung sa result nung sa CRD, kaso nadagdag yung result ni blocks. So, meron tayong 4 na p-value. So, balik ulit tayo doon sa PowerPoint kasi inisa-isa ko yan yung discussion doon. Okay, so, again, ito yung ating result ng ANOVA. So, for main effect ni A, let's evaluate. So, again, our hypothesis is alpha sub I is equals to 0. So, ibig sabihin, walang significant difference dun sa effect ni factor A versus HA, at least 1 sub I is not equals to 0. Ibig sabihin, may significant difference doon sa effect ni factor A, which is, in our example, ang factor A natin ay fertilizer. Tapos, ito yung p-value niya. So, ang decision natin is failed to reject HO kasi itong p-value na 0.0220, hindi siya less than sa alpha natin na 0.05, kaya failed to reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, we can conclude na there is no significant difference sa average rice yield for different fertilizers. Next is for the effect ni factor B, which is yung irrigation. So, HO, walang significant difference sa effect ng ating irrigation versus HA, may significant difference. Ang p-value is 0.715. Again, hindi siya less than sa alpha natin na 0.05, kaya ang decision natin ay failed to reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, we can also conclude that there is no significant difference in the average rice yield for different irrigations. Now, let's evaluate their interaction. So, ibig sabihin sa HO, walang significant interaction versus HA, significant ang interaction. So, ang p-value niya is 0.387. So, hindi rin siya less than sa alpha natin na 0.05. Kaya ang decision natin, again, is failed to reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, wala ring significant difference sa interaction between fertilizer and irrigation. Walang significant interaction. Last is yung effect ni blocks. So, ibig sabihin lang nito may significant difference sa effect ni blocks or ang blocks natin ay fields versus HA may significant difference. Ang p-value is 0.123. So, ito siya. So, hindi rin siya less than sa alpha natin na 0.05. Kaya ang decision natin ay failed to reject HO. So, ibig sabihin, wala ring significant difference sa average rice yield for different fields. So, yan lang naman ang ating factorial experiment. So, take note na there is no single direct non-parametric test para sa factorial ANOVA. So, kapag na-violate yung assumption ng so, same assumption, normality at saka homogeneity of variance. Kapag na-violate yung assumption ng normality, ang non-parametric or alternatives natin dyan is si aligned, rank, transform, or ERT ANOVA. So best siya for main effects and interaction. Same with permutation ANOVA. So yan yung mga non-parametric na alternatives. Pero heavy na ang codings natin dyan, kaya hindi na natin siya i-explore. I think kapag dyan na magpo-fall yung experiment nyo, mag-consult na sa statistician. And then if the assumption of homogeneity of variance is violated, so we can perform its alternative test like robust methods such as Welch ANOVA para sa unequal variance or apply permutation ANOVA. Kasi si permutation ANOVA ay distribution-free alternative. Kaya siya part ng non-parametric alternatives. Okay, so it's the last analysis for this chapter. Analysis of repeated measures. Pero siguro break tayo ng mga 5 minutes lang. So, okay pa ba? Nasusundan pa? Wait na, nag-feedback. Nag-feedback pala. Ayan.
Ma'am, i-upload po ba ulit yung yung copy po ng discussion mo?
Yes.
Oo po, thank you po.
Yes, i-upload ko siya. Tapos try ko rin i-upload tong ni-record ko if okay siya. May nag-print kasi kanina. Pasensya na. Wait lang. 5 minutes. Okay, so konti na lang pala to. Sige. para tapos na tayo. Okay, so yung last is itong analysis of repeated measures. Kasi based sa experience sa mga nagpapa-analyze, karaniwan ko rin itong makikitang analysis. So, a repeated measures design is used when the same subject or experimental units are measured multiple times under different conditions or across time. So, for example, yung experiment kanina, yung gusto mong makita yung effect, simple CRD lang. Gusto mong makita yung significant effect ng fertilizers sa yield. Pero gusto mo siyang i-observe over a period of time. For example, for month 1 of using the fertilizer. And then same subjects, same experimental units, i-observe mo lang for the next month, month 2, month 3, month 4, and so on. Ang practice kasi ng iba is i-analyze siya separate ANOVA per month. So kung 4 months, ina-analyze nila yon ng edi meron 4 na ANOVA. So hindi ganun. Kapag inobserve mo siya under different conditions or across time, ano na siya, repeated measures, hindi siya separate na ANOVA for time. Para ma-consider mo rin yung, aside from the effect ng treatments, is yung effect nung time, different time na kinonsider sa experiment. So, it accounts for the correlation between repeated observations on the same subject, and in this case, ordinary ANOVA is not appropriate to use since it assumes na independent dapat yung observations. Pero in the case ng repeated measures, hindi na. Kasi same subject yung isa-subject mo per different, let's say, months. Same subject lang yun. Na nauulit lang yung measure. Kaya dapat talaga is repeated measures na yung ia-apply sa ganung case. Kaso ang nakikita ko nga sa iba is separate ANOVA for different time period. So ang hypothesis natin for repeated measures ANOVA is there is no significant difference in the means of the repeated measures or repeated measures factors across time or condition versus the alternative na at least one of the means is different across time or condition. So parehas lang. Kaso nga lang dito ay across time ang pagtetest natin. Same lang din na itetest mo yung yung effect ni treatment pero kasama yung another factor na time. Kaya no need na i-perform mo siya ng separate for each time. Kasi meron tayong specialized naman na ANOVA para i-consider na rin sa isang bagsakan, isang analysis, yung treatment at saka yung time. Yan yung purpose ni repeated measures. Pero for illustration, hanggang CRD lang yung in-include ko dito. So, same assumptions, kagaya ng mga previous ANOVA, normality. Kaso ang madadagdag dito is si sphericity. So, ibig sabihin yan is yung variances of differences between all pairs of conditions are equal. Parang homogeneity of variance to, pero ang titingnan nating variances ay between all pairs. Pairs or across different times. So, ang ginagamit nating test dyan is si Mauchly test of sphericity. And then, if violated, hindi naman natin kailangang mag-perform ng other test, kundi i-apply lang yung correction na function, which is si Greenhouse-Gieser or Hounsfield-Felt correction. Okay, so for example, a researcher wants to monitor the growth of fish after introducing a new type of feed. So ito yung subjects natin, 5 na fish. And then i-measure siya, yung weight niya i-record sa week 1, week 2, and week 3. So ang gusto nating makita is kung merong significant difference yung average weight ng fish over time. So one factor lang to na repeated measures. Kasi meron pang iba pang mga repeated measures, yung merong ilan ding mga factors. Pwede rin yun dito sa repeated measures. Pero ito ay for illustration ko lang ng repeated measures sa inyo, kaya concept lang siya. So, paano ko in-encode yung data? Ito ay fish ID lang for ito. So, yung weight natin, so ito yung 15, 18, 21. So, by row ko siya in-encode. So, ito yung data ni fish 1. Ito yung data ni fish 2, fish 3, fish 4, and then fish 5. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ibig sabihin, tagtatatlong 5 observations per week. So again, ito ay pag ganun, di ba, pa-row. Kaya week 1, week 2, and week 3. Tapos nilagay ko lang siya sa isang data frame. So pag niran nyo, ang mangyayari lang dyan is AOV function pa rin nitong weight, itilde nyo sa week, plus mag-a-add tayo ng error. Ang error natin is ID over week. Kaya importante na maglalagay tayo ng ID. Ang ID lang naman is parang codes natin kung by row in terms of the number of observations para ma-recall na isang sample lang yung ino-observe natin over 3 weeks. So, ganun siya. Isang sample lang siya. And then data, yung data frame. So, ang result niyan is ganito. So, ito yung ating p-value para matest kung merong significant difference yung average weight ng fish over time. So, for the interpretation, ang HO natin ay yung mean fish weights are the same across week 1, 2, and 3 versus HA at least 1 week's mean fish weights differ from the other or may significant difference. So ang p-value natin is naka-scientific notation which can also be written in this form. Yan siya, sa R. So since mas mababa siya sa alpha natin na 0.05, so ang decision natin ay reject HO. So our conclusion, at 5% level of significance, we can conclude that fish weights significantly change over time. Pagka failed to reject HO, so ibig sabihin hindi siya significantly change over time. So ang pwede mo sigurong gawin dyan ay i-extend pa yung time. Baka masyadong maikli yung na-consider mong time or mag-consider ng other design ng experiment. So, for assumption, siya pero lang din. Pero residuals, i-call out mo muna yung residuals kasi kailangan natin ng residuals ng ANOVA per week. And then, itong name na i-set natin para sa residuals ng per ID and per week, yun yung ipapasok natin sa Shapero. So, ang result ay 0.2019. So, ibig sabihin, hindi natin na-violate yung assumption for normality. So, yung residuals natin ay normally distributed. And then, for sphericity, using MOSH list test, so, kailangan natin mag-install ng package na easy or RS static. So, marunong na kayong mag-install ng package. Then, pag na-install na is call out nyo lang siya using library function. Easy yung ginamit ko. So, easy ANOVA, data. So, yung fish data frame, DB for weight, with for fish ID, within, itetest natin by week, and then detailed true. So, ito lang naman yung titingnan natin sa lahat ng result niya. So, ang p-value is 0.2689. So, ibig sabihin, hindi natin na-violate yung assumption for asphericity. So, this means na yung variances of the differences across weeks are equal. So, pwede tayong mag-perform ng standard na RM ANOVA. So, paano kapag na-violate yung assumption? So the results of the RM ANOVA may not be reliable since residuals are not normally distributed kapag ang na-violate natin ay yung assumption ng normality. Ang alternative na test kapag na-violate natin yung assumption ng normality is si Friedman test, yung pinerform nating Friedman kanina. So yun yung non-parametric counterpart nitong si repeated measures ANOVA. Kapag ang na-violate naman na assumption ay yung asphericity, so i-adjust lang natin siya using greenhouse geyser and Hohenfeld adjustment. So, yun lang. Medyo mahirap na yung kapag na-perform yung, again, pwede to sa, sa CRD, yung meron tayong different treatments over time na itetest, pwede yon. Meron din tayong repeated measures na ganon. And yung mga extend pa na experiment. Pero medyo mahirap na siyang i-perform. So, to summarize, again, ano ba yung difference ni parametric test at saka ni non-parametric test? Kasi sabi ng ito yung parametric test, ito yung non-parametric na counterpart. So, si parametric test, ito yung mga test na maraming assumption. Like for example, si one sample t-test. Di ba kahit one sample t-test lang yun, may assumption yun na normality na kailangan nating isatisfy. For two populations, may assumption tayo ng normality at homogeneity of variance. For ANOVA, meron tayong assumption ng independence, normality, homogeneity of variance. For repeated measures, meron tayong normality and asphericity. So, kasi ang mga parametric test is mostly nagre-rely sa distribution, especially normality. Kaya nga lagi kong nire-remarks or pinapoint out na kapag na-violate ang assumption ng normality, saka tayo magpo-proceed sa kanyang non-parametric counterpart. Kasi kapag ang na-violate ay homogeneity of variance, merong mga ways to correct it in the analysis. But if ang na-violate nating assumptions ay normality, medyo mahirap. First, ang first na pwede natin gawin is to perform transformation. Lahat ng transformation, kung sinisipag tayo, log, square, square root, backskacks, tas pag wala pa rin, proceed to non-parametric. Ano ba si non-parametric? Si non-parametric naman, ito yung mga test na hindi nagre-require na yung data or yung residuals should follow a normal distribution. Tapos si non-parametric, since nakabase ito mostly sa position or location, less sensitive siya sa outliers and extreme values compared to parametric test. Ang tanong, bakit kung ganun pala na less sensitive itong si non-parametric test, ba't hindi na lang mag-non-parametric test? Kasi mas powerful pa rin ang parametric test kapag ibe-base natin sa theory ng mga statistical test, mas mataas ang power of test ni parametric compared to non-parametric. But even though na mas less ang power ni non-parametric, efficient pa rin siya na alternatives sa parametric test. Kaya kapag mag-perform tayo ng analysis, ang first pa rin natin na i-perform ay si parametric, at kapag na-violate lang yung assumption ni parametric, saka lang tayo nagpo-proceed sa counterpart niya na si non-parametric test. So, yun siya. Kaya almost lahat ng test, meron siyang non-parametric na counterpart. Actually, continuous pa rin ang development ng mga yan. Baka later on, lahat na talaga ay may non-parametric na counterpart. So, to summarize lang, itong discussion natin, actually discussion to mula sa t-test, sa one sample at saka sa hanggang dito sa ganito mag-decide or mag-select ng parametric test kapag gusto mong mag-evaluate ng group differences. Anong una mong titingnan? How many separate samples? O ilan or how many, kapag isa lang, kunyari, ang una mong titingnan, ilan ba yung samples? Kapag isa lang, how many scores for each subject? Okay, so pag isa lang din yung scores for each subject, next man titingnan, known ba ang population standard deviation? Kasi kapag known yan, ang gagamitan natin ay si one sample z-test or yung z-distribution. Kapag gagamit ka naman gamit ang mga sample data results at yung sigma ay unknown, ang gagamitin mo ay si single sample t-test. Mahirap kasing gumamit ng one sample z-test na known ang population standard deviation kasi hahanap ka pa ng literatures. Unlike kapag gumamit ka ng one sample t-test, magbe-base ka lang doon sa results using your random sample. Okay, next. Kapag ang scores ay dalawa, so paired samples t-test kasi galing lang siya sa isang separate sample pero dalawa ang scores, di ba? Yun yung pinerform natin before na one sample t-test. Okay, next. Kapag more than two samples, again galing pa rin yan sa isang sample lang na inobserve mo before and after, kaya paired yung sample. Pero kapag inobserve mo more than 2, so dyan napapasok sa repeated measures, ANOVA. Okay, next. Balik tayo dito. Kapag dalawa yung samples, di ba ang next mong titingnan, yan ba ay dependent, paired, match, or independent na samples? Kapag match siya, so ang gagamitin nyo pa rin ay paired samples t-test. Kapag independent samples t-test. Okay, next. Kapag more than 2 yung samples, next mo ulit titingnan, match ba siya o paired? Kapag match, edi repeated measures, ANOVA. And then pag independent, ilang factor? Kapag isang factor, so single factor ANOVA. Kapag dalawang factor, 2 factors ANOVA. So basically, lahat yan ay na-perform natin aside from one sample z-test. Kasi mahirap again maghanap nitong population standard deviation na known. Lahat ng pinerform ko dito ay using sample results. So, sigma is unknown. Okay, next. Paano magsaselect naman ng non-parametric na counterpart? Pero hindi lahat to na-perform ko na, I think. Kasi yung ibang test ay sa next chapter ko pa ipe-perform. Again, how many samples? Kapag 1, how many scores? Kapag isang sample tapos isang score lang, ilan ang categories na i-measure? Kapag dalawa, ang gagamitin na test ay chi-square goodness of fit. Pag 2 or more, chi-square goodness of fit. Kapag dalawa lang, binomial test. Pag isang sample at dalawang scores, so next yung titingnan, yung difference ba pwedeng i-rank? Kapag hindi, sign test. Kapag pwede, Wilcoxon test. Next. Kapag dalawang separate samples, next mo titingnan, match ba or independent yung samples? Kapag match, so balik ka doon. Kung nararank ba siya o hindi. Kapag independent, pwede ba yung i-rank? Can scored be ranked with few ties or values? Kapag yes, si Man Whitney. Kapag no, si chi-square test for independence or si median test. Next is kapag more than 2 yung separate samples. So next mo tanong, siya ba ay independent samples? Kapag yes, Kruskal-Wallis. Kapag hindi, ay ito yung repeated measures. So ang non-parametric counterpart niya ay si Friedman test. So, ito yung pwede nyo maging guide sa pagde-decide ng test na gagamitin. Kaso, ang hindi ko na-perform dito ay si chi-square. Na-perform ko naman si sign test. Wilcoxon test lang din si Man-Whitney test. Si median hindi ko na-perform kasi nag-Man-Whitney naman ako. Si chi-square ay i-discuss natin kapag nasa correlation analysis na tayo. So kapag magpe-perform kayo ng non-parametric test, ito lang yung kanyang assumption. Una, at tandaan natin na kahit non-parametric test, nagre-require pa rin siya na yung samples natin dapat randomly selected. Kasi again, kapag hindi random yung sample natin, hanggang descriptive statistics lang ang pwede nating ma-perform. Hindi tayo pwedeng mag-perform ng inferential statistics kapag ang samples ay hindi randomly selected. Kaya nga siya important na concept sa statistics yung sampling. Kaya maraming sampling procedure na dinidiscuss kasi yun ay isang important requirement ng lahat ng statistical inference analysis. 2, if 2 or more samples are used, they must be independent of each other unless otherwise stated. And again, for the remarks, so if the parametric assumption can be met, doon pa rin tayo sa parametric method. Yun pa rin yung mas prepare natin na method, si parametric. Kasi mas powerful ang mga test under parametric test. And then when parametric assumption cannot be met, so saka tayo magpo-proceed sa non-parametric methods na counterpart ng mga parametric tests, which are valuable tool for analyzing our datasets. So that's all. So do you have any question, clarification? Anything you want to ask? Kasi natapos ko na yung coverage for first exam. So, mag-e-exam na tayo. Yes. Miss Jedeline.
Narinig po ako, ma'am?
Medyo mahina yung audio.
Ay, sorry po. May chinap po ako sa may chinap po ako sa chat box.
Sige. Kapag malakihan yung sample, pwedeng i-encode muna sa Excel, doon ayusin, tapos import. Nakita na ba ako ng example na naka-Excel?
Yung import, yung pag-import, ma'am.
Oo, yung import na function
baka
sa
wala ako noon sa part na yun.
sige, na lang. Try ko mag-record ng example na naka-Excel naman para, oo nga naman, kapag mas hindi naman lagi onti yung data. Sige.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Any question pa? Meron daw recorded sa YouTube si Sir Benji Garcia. Pwede daw po pa-share yung link.
Sir Benji, papabalikin mo pa ba ako? Sa sobrang dami ng recording mo.
Sa mga gusto daw pong mag-review para sa exam.
Ay, tama po. Thank you, Sir
Yung
Benji.
exam naman po ay, kasi ilang oras ba kayo regularly na nag-e-exam sa mga graduate na subject? 1.5 lang din ba?
Ma'am, open notes ba? Sa formula.
Miss ma'am.
Ang
Para mag-review ng command.
Hindi na ako magre-require na ng laptop kasi face-to-face ang exam. Medyo hindi maganda yung internet connection namin dito. So, output-based na lang kasi ang goal ko lang naman is ma-check kung marunong kayong mag-interpret ng output at mag-execute ng test.
Thank you po.
Close notes ang exam. Open naman na sa mga activity. So, yung exam ay close notes. Tingnan ko muna kung ano yung magiging result ng exam 1. Saka ko titingnan kung hindi okay yung ganong method, then let's see for the next exam. Pero yung first exam ay close notes. Pero face-to-face. So, kailan ba kayo pwede for exam? Bala ko sana kasing isabay ng exam mo